Hey guys! As promised, today is the sculpture video. But to be completely honest, it's different than the one I originally planned. That one's still in the works, but I had to take this opportunity to do a project that I've been thinking about, had on the back burner for a while. Recently, Pottery to the People made a video where she made origami looking sculptures out of pottery. It's a really cool video, and she talked about being obsessed with origami at a certain point in her childhood, and so relatable. Occasionally I still have relapses of origami fever, so I've had this idea for a while now that I wanted to combine pottery and origami, but I've always kind of put it in the back of my mind to think about what that would look like, and I kind of forgot about it. But her video reminded me that I've wanted to do this, and so I decided now's the time. So you're gonna see me make some origami out of clay. Is this a terrible idea? Absolutely, but I've always wanted to try it, so here we are. If you like to do origami, you know that thinner paper is better. Even just using cardstock makes for a terrible origami paper folding experience. So you can imagine with clay that's about 1/4 of an inch thick, this is awful. There's no way it's going to work, but what a wonderful failure. It's a spectacular train wreck. 10 out of 10 would not do it again. So even though I knew this was not going to be successful, I'd always wanted to try it. So the real question became, at what point will it fail? Typically when folding origami, you do a lot of folds and unfolding that prepare the paper to collapse in the correct way. But I knew that doing that with clay would just cause more problems. So actually here, I'm skipping a lot of folds, and I'm trying to just coax the clay to make the folds that it needs to without doing too many extra pre-folds, and I'm really skipping a lot of steps that I would normally take in paper. It's ripped completely in half. Oh, he's quite ugly. All right, here he is, finished, and so terrible. I mean, look at how thick that is. Honestly, this is what I was expecting. I was expecting it to be bad. Even if it wasn't torn, like, that is way too thick for me to fire it. Now, technically, I could fire it very slowly, let it dry for months, right? And he could fire and it would be fine. He would stay whole, but I don't want to. Like, nobody needs this. Way too heavy. It's not elegant. It's not pretty. So I was not really planning to fire this. This was just one of those things that I have imagined for a long time, that I've thought about doing for a long time, and I wanted to know, how would it actually turn out? It made it a lot further than I thought, right? The fact that it only tore here and on the tail, I really thought it would fall apart earlier. It's shocking to me that it's still in one piece. It's been drying for several days, it's bone dry now. The fact that it hasn't just collapsed, hasn't just snapped apart is really surprising. So, you know, it went better than expected, which is not what I thought would happen. I guess that's why they say than expected. But that is not a satisfying end to this video. So guess what? Instead of making actual origami, I'm gonna make a sculpture that looks like origami. So this time, I'm not actually folding it, but we are starting with a slab. I've got my reference origami here, because the sculpture needs to look like this, but not be made like this. And I've also made this halfway done paper crane to use as a pattern to cut out my slabs. So I'll just cut them out like that. I'm cutting out several pieces here. I've got 2 wings. I'm going to cut out 2 pieces that are shaped like the back, and then I'll also cut out 2 pieces for the head and the tail. Now I'm going to do some test fitting. So let's look at these pieces, put those together, Look at my reference. Okay, the head goes here. Wing there. Yes, okay. Looks like it's gonna work. Let's carve off some of those corners. I'm giving it a nice bevel to make it look thinner than it actually is. We use this piece to help cut out that piece. Beveling. More beveling. Ah, yes, lots of beveling. Maybe I should just let you watch in peace. Now, right here, I'm making some marks where these two pieces should connect if it was paper, so I can bend the wing at the right point. See? Now I'm scoring. You can't see it, but I'm putting water in there. And then attaching. First wing to back attachment. Let's make it 2. And now there are 2. So let's do another test fit here with the tail and the head. Looks good. So now I need to carve these pieces. I want to get these folds. I want it to look like paper, so let's go for it. And with the head done, time to work on the tail. Now that the head and tail are done, I can start working on some assembly. At first, I did some carving and work on the details of the folds of the paper on the wings, but I'm gonna skip over a lot of it because I had to do it again. It got smudged out when I was putting everything together, and honestly the clay was too thick, so I ended up carving it a lot thinner and then reshaping those folds, and so I'll let you see that work later when I do it the second time. So I'm looking at my reference again here, realizing that the wings need to be more attached to the body. So that's what I'm going to be doing here for a bit, is scoring, adding some water, pinching that together, getting a good bond there. And this ends up being what partially smudges out all that carving that I had done of the paper folds under the wings. The other part is that in combining the body and the wing this way, it really made the clay a little too thick in this area, and so I'm going to end up carving it away to make it a bit thinner. Okay, time to attach the head and neck, and then I'll be doing the tail. This also contributed to the body being much thicker than other parts of the sculpture. But in the end, after I carve it, it'll still be a lot thinner than the proportions in the literal folded clay. Now it's time to work on really bonding the two sides of the body together. And I was struggling here for a minute, and then I was like, oh yeah, let me make a plastic pillow. Turned it upside down, and I'm working on the foot. Now, to make this more stable, I'm gonna use a trick to divide out the two sides and almost give it 4 feet. This is also a thing that you can do with a paper crane. Like, it has 4 lobes on the bottom of it that you can kind of bend to help the crane stand up if you want to set it upright on a table or something. And now we're getting back into the carving. So you can see there's some texture there, but it had been kind of smushed and lost some of its definition, and I realized I needed to carve the clay thinner. So you see me drawing it here and kind of starting to work on it, and then I'm gonna switch gears and really just carve that surface away. Here I am opening up those little feet a little bit. I want to make sure I give this a stable foot to sit on. And now it's back to sculpting those paper folds. I'm just gonna keep carving and shaving and scraping away extra clay until I get it to a point where I'm happy with it. Okay, let's turn this guy right side up again. The bottom is looking great, happy with those wings. And now the back needs some more shaping. So I'm gonna bevel this a little bit more. I really want to give that impression of it being thin like paper. I don't want it to feel as thick as the clay actually is. So I'm just gonna make that bevel more subtle and blend it to a nice thin edge so it feels thin, even though it is a reasonable thickness for clay. And now I'm just making final touches, just using a rib and some different brushes and my fingers to smooth out that texture and really refine corners and edges before I wrap it up to dry slowly. And it's done! So much better making a sculpture of origami than trying to make actual origami. I'm so happy with how this turned out. He looks so good. I've got all the little details that I really wanted to include, like the paper folds in here, the way that the paper would come together on the neck and on the tail. The back or the top here has the little creases in it. The tail and the head really feel like, or neck, really feel like they're coming into the body here. The wings feel right. They're a little uneven, but you know, so is origami a lot of the time. The bottom has like a fake hole in it, and I kind of divided the paper here. That's something that you might do if you fold a paper crane, is kind of like make those parts separate so that it can stand up. It only has a little bit of a wobble, which is pretty good. I'm being very careful with it because it is already bone dry. I was slow drying it, wrapped it in plastic. I didn't want the ends, like the tip of the tail or the beak, to accidentally break or dry too much faster than the rest of the body. I had intended to smooth out the texture a bit better before it was fully dried, but time got away from me and it went from being too soft to mess with to too dry to mess with before I got back to it. So, oh well. Depending on the glaze I use, I may be able to cover up any of that texture, and I may be able to do some smoothing, but it is very delicate now that it's bone dry. I really love making sculpture. I hope you enjoyed watching the video of it, and I have another sculpture video coming out soon. The one that I promised before. It's really gonna come out this time. Thank you so much for watching. I'll see you next time.